Welcome back, everybody. As we predicted, it is a time of funniness in Japanese politics. Just the other day, the policy secretary for the Communist Party was forced to resign, and the reason why might surprise you. Michael, you watched him on television last Sunday, didn't you?
I did not watch him on television. I only got it later on. But what he said was something that was right straight down the Communist Party line.
Of yesteryear, but didn't he get the memo?
Oh, well, the thing is, I don't think he knew there was a memo, which is kind of strange, because he's the policy chief.
He's the policy chief. And he had to resign because he said something that upset people, a lot of people.
So Mr. Fujino, the policy chief of the JCP, said in mid-sentence that the budget for the self-defense forces is the budget for killing people.
Right.
And we should think more about the budget to nurture people. That little twist is perfectly along the lines of what the JCP has been saying for 70 years. That's exactly what they have been saying.
Right.
But for some reason, we're in a new environment.
We sure are.
Somehow this coordination that has happened between the JCP and the DP, which the LDP portrays as the communists taking over the Democratic Party, it's gone the other way. The DP immediately slammed this statement, and the communists folded on it.
He had to, didn't he? Well, I mean, this is not along the storyline that we decided when we decided to come together.
And it certainly isn't. Seemingly, the new Communist Party seems to be really taking seriously the re-examination of all its positions. We keep harping on it, but they were there at the beginning of this regular diet session, at the first diet session, which is led by the emperor.
Right.
They changed completely changed their previous actions as regarding the emperor. They now recognize that he has some kind of symbolic function. And now the SDF, they are against the SDF existing. They say it's an unconstitutional body. It should not, the self-defense forces should not exist under Article 9. But now, because of this coordination that's happening, this alliance where they are supporting, along with the other 4 main opposition parties, joint candidates in 32 districts, suddenly the old line is no longer acceptable.
Well, particularly now because the atmosphere is so charged. And when he made his statement, it was in a panel discussion on national television where they're talking policy, they're talking politics, they're talking about the election for the upper house. And he blurted this out, probably not thinking very much about it, but you know, what a destructive effect that has had over the last couple of days. I mean, immediately at the panel, it didn't generate too much of a response, but the last couple of days, they're really hitting hard. He resigned, and now who is serving in his role now?
That would be Koike Akira.
He's doing double duty.
He is doing double duty, but he's more than capable of it. He's a former MD. I think he's also a piano player. Maybe I'm confusing him with Mr. Shi, the head of the party. But nevertheless, he's always on television. He's well-spoken. He knows what he's saying. He won't say anything like that, I'm sure, now that has now been established as being out of bounds. But it wasn't out of bounds. Not until this week.
You take a look at Fujino. He's a young, relatively young, good-looking member of the upper house.
Yeah, he's a freshman.
And he's a freshman.
He's a class of 2014. I mean, he was in his first term, and he got this very powerful post. And saying what was the party line got him into trouble. We live in a very interesting world.
He should know. I mean, his career, his whole buildup into going into politics was started by working within the Communist Party.
Yeah, but the thing is that there is change in the air. Things are no one imagined that at the beginning of this year that the parties, the 4 parties that have come together would actually be able, by the time the election came around, to have completely covered every single member district.
It's huge.
With a joint candidate. Everybody's saying, oh, maybe 12, 13, no, 32. Every single member district has a joint candidate. This has indicating that to me that this is a very interesting election. And I say that because Jerry Curtis, the great master of Japanese politics, the
election campaigning in Japan,
the man who knows more about it than anyone else probably, has declared, did declare in a Wall Street Journal editorial, that this is one of the dullest elections in recent memory. I respect him immensely, but I disagree.
Well, that's because you and I mean, a lot of people who are, subscribers to our show are watching this very carefully too. But the fact of the matter is, there aren't really any big issues that are telling people, you need to vote on this, you need to come out to the polls. And the LDP is kind of pushing this down. They don't want people to be excited. Even when you're out in town and, doing your daily life, the election campaign trucks are not blaring as they normally do. I mean, it's rather mild.
It's really, okay, I'll take that as that criticism of my position. Nevertheless, we are facing change. And the work that the JCP has done in reaching out to other parties is so unlike the JCP that you and I know.
Right.
It's something that, where did this creature come from? Until now, they've always been autonomous, autarkic. We will have a candidate of our own in every district, whether it helps the LDP or not, we don't care, we're there. They're accommodative, they'll work with others, they'll work with the socialists. They're supposedly second deadliest enemy after the Komeito. There's something is in the air.
Obviously, a sea change is going on.
Yeah, and we should recognize that. Again, yes, they're a minor party, but they did really well in the 2013 election, much better than they had ever done before. They did great in the House of Reps election in 2014, getting 21 seats, more than they'd ever had, and with it, the ability to submit legislation. They are on a roll, and they seem to think that they've got a new game plan.
Right.
And I'm predicting that they'll do great in this next election that's coming up in July.
Please stay tuned to this issue. It's really huge. 11 more days of election campaigning. The chief policy secretary for the Communist Party was forced to resign because of a statement he made a couple of days ago, claiming that the SDF, the Self-Defense Forces budget, was a budget for killing people.